I'm here with Frank. Just witness. Oh, here we go. He's smelling something.
Can you smell it?
Well, it's not you.
Might be you. No, I'm joking. It's a smell of victory, Laurie. We've done it again.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's nice to get a victory. A couple of games without a win, and some of the fans, well, more than some, quite a lot, were expressing their reservations and their misgivings. So first and foremost, it's nice to get a win tonight. Quarter-final win, so it takes us through to the semi-final. And I don't know about you, obviously we're going to come to you in a minute. I thought it was a good game, but you tell us what you think.
Absolutely. I think I was really happy with what I saw today. Not so much in the first half, but we'll get onto that in a moment. I think it was a really good bounce back from last weekend's disappointment against Everton. You know, a game that we really should have been winning against a struggling Everton side. You know, I think I even predicted before the game, I think I predicted 5-1. You know, and we saw how that turned out. Yeah. So thankfully I predicted a win today and we ended up getting that win. First half performance, not fantastic, I won't lie. I think we should have been seeing a lot more from the team that he started in that first half, and obviously that sort of came undone immediately. Obviously,
tell us about the goal. I mean, Palace scored within 4 minutes. A lot of people close to me were quite critical of Nketiah in the run-up to that goal.
Rightfully so.
Right, so you do share that opinion?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Nketiah, what are you doing? I think he's trying to go for a wrestling match with Jean-Philippe Mateta, which is, you know, he's never going to win that, Jakub Nketiah. He's not the fantastic best of defenders on a good day. And to try and go one-on-one with Mateta, who's very physical, and it was never going to work for him. And he's really kind of shot us in the foot there. But thankfully, in that second half, you know, we had the ability to come back. And I want to give praise to Mikel Arteta on this occasion, because I think one of the biggest things that I criticise him for in terms of his management style is his changes that he made. Mainly the timing, and obviously if he gets them right or not. The timing of the substitution for Martin Odegaard was fantastic. I will be slightly critical and say that I think it was a bit unfair that even when Yeri came off, but showed why he's a manager. Even when Yeri came off, Martin Odegaard came on, and he changed the game completely. I think he got 2 assists. If Jesus hadn't scored a hat-trick, and we'll get onto Jesus in a moment, probably in contention for man of the match. And I think it was a really good response from Martin Odegaard as well, especially from that game on the weekend where he was, you know, it's very rare you bring your captain off, but I think he was that bad against Everton that he warranted coming off. And I think it was right that Arteta benched him for this game. And it sort of reminds me of, remember last season with Gabriel Martinelli, where we took him out of the firing line for a little while, came off the bench and performed fantastically. So I'm happy to see what I saw from Martin Odegaard today, especially.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. I was at the game, and you're so right about that. When we saw Martin Odegaard warming up at half time, we was all saying, yeah, man, looks like he's going to make the change early. And to give credit to the manager, not only did he make the right substitution, because Wanyeri was a little flat for whatever reason.
Do you think it warranted coming off at half time though? I think that's a bit harsh, especially given his age. It does a lot for the confidence at that age.
Well, I'll say this, it appears harsh, but what are we always saying as fans? That the manager leaves the substitutions by and large too late.
Yeah.
I thought that was a proactive move. I saw when Odegaard was warming at half-time, he was warming up with vigour. You could see there was a lot of energy there. And as soon as the second half started, I thought, yeah, man, this is the right substitution, because he was on it right from the get-go. And as you said, a couple of assists, and he looked dangerous throughout the whole of the second half. And he definitely spurred us on. So listen, no disrespect to Wanyeri, but for me, the manager deserves credit. He got it absolutely right.
Absolutely, and like I said, I think rightfully so as well, obviously, because he didn't play fantastic against Everton. I think, you know, Odegaard took the criticism personally, and he really took it out on Crystal Palace today. So I was really happy to see that.
Yeah. And apart from Odegaard, well, actually, tell me what you think about Sterling, because a lot of people were calling for Sterling today, myself included. I think you wanted Sterling to start, right?
Well,
I'm sure I had a conversation with you before the game.
I kind of expected Sterling to start. It wasn't a case of maybe me wanting him. Obviously, we're getting to the business end of this competition. I would expect maybe I expect a Martinelli to start in a game like this. Obviously, when we get to the latter stages of these competitions, especially considering we're struggling a little bit in the league right now, I want us to take the competitions like the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup seriously, which he quite infamously hasn't done over the last few years, and that's been another criticism of his. I did think Sterling would start today, and again, I don't think he lit the world up once again. Obviously, I think the only kind of 2 good performances we've seen from Raheem Sterling have been against, you know, championship sides in Bolton and and Preston. So it's not what you want, and I don't think it's going to turn out to be the piece of business that I thought it was going to be. When we signed him on a loan, obviously no obligation to buy, we wasn't tied into anything. We're paying I think a minority of his wages as well. I thought it was a pretty good piece of business, and obviously he was a player that had a lot to prove coming to Arsenal, obviously having not had a fantastic time and being exiled by that Chelsea side. But unfortunately, it just doesn't look like it's going to work out. So it's a shame.
So you don't think he states a claim tonight?
No, I really don't, unfortunately.
Okay, interesting. Because people around me were saying I thought he had a half decent first half.
I think he done fairly well tracking back. But obviously that's not really what you want from a winger. You want that player that's gonna, provide, threat at goal. And I don't think we ever saw that from Raheem Sterling, because even especially with the chance that he missed, how he missed that, I nearly forgot about that. The chance that he missed, obviously the first one, a fantastic save from Dean Henderson. Obviously I'll give a goalkeeper praise wherever I can. But the second one, the follow up from that, hitting the crossbar from that angle when the keeper's already down, that's near enough inexcusable. Like he's got to finish that. So for me, wasn't impressed with Sterling today overall.
Okay, that's fine. Let's talk about somebody who did impress though, and that's that man Gabriel Jesus. Now, I think it would be fair to say that a lot of people have been questioning him in recent weeks. He's not been at his best by any stretch of the imagination. But one thing you can always say about Jesus is that he puts an effort in, puts a shift in. So it was really nice to see him get on the score sheet today, ×3. And I think all his finishes, he took them well.
Absolutely. Jesus rises around Christmas time. I was really happy with Gabriel Jesus' performance today. A player that even as early as the first half, we were saying might not cut it in an Arsenal shirt, and we were potentially looking at him as to be replaced in the summer or the January transfer window if we could. But for me, Gabriel Jesus is a confidence player, and that for me today didn't look like a player that was playing on low confidence. Every single one of those goals was a fantastic finish, and that's kind of what you pay the money for with Gabriel Jesus. The kind of performances that we saw from Gabriel Jesus when he first signed for the club. We paid a lot of money. We expected goals. We haven't got that a lot since January, where he scored his last goal up to this game before the Bolton game. I thought Bolton or Preston game. He hadn't scored before that since January. So that was looking like a striker that's not playing with a lot of confidence. But today we saw a completely different Gabriel Jesus, and I'm just hoping that we don't fall into a similar pattern with Gabriel Jesus as we did with your friend who scored today, Eddie Nketiah.
Friend?
Eddie Nketiah. We was looking for you. We knew you were somewhere celebrating when he scored the goal. And I'll give him credit. It was a fantastic goal. But the point I'm trying to make is my criticism of Eddie Nketiah during his time at Arsenal was fantastic. He's had a good game here, but we're not going to see this again for 3 or 4 games. My only concern with Gabriel Jesus is that might be the same situation, but I invite him to prove me wrong.
Well, I was going to ask, that was going to be my supplementary question. Him getting a hat-trick today, and obviously gotten the man of match ball. Everyone's talking about him. Would you be tempted as a manager of Arsenal to keep his position against the same team? I mean, don't forget, he not only scored a hat-trick, he'll be playing against most of these guys on Saturday. Is there a temptation on the manager's part to start him against Crystal Palace at the weekend?
I mean, if it was just a good performance, I probably think you could still make a case for Kai Havertz to start up there. But it was almost perfect from Gabriel Jesus today. And when you score a hat-trick, if you're not starting in the next game, I'd be tearing the manager's door down. So I think the fact that he got the hat-trick today, the fact that it was a superb performance all around from Gabriel Jesus, I think he's a no-brainer to start on Saturday. Maybe against Ipswich as well, depending on how he plays against Crystal Palace on Saturday as well. But we'll just have to see how that goes. But I would personally start him.
Yeah, he certainly made a claim for a starting place. And like you said, it wasn't just the goals. And I thought he took the goals well. But his overall contribution, just his body language, his demeanour, I thought he looked on it today from the start. So I was so pleased for him. I've got to say, you mentioned it, so it's only right that I reply. Eddie Nketiah, good to see him get a good shout out from the crowd. They did give him a good reception when he come on. He was busy, and I thought he took his goal well.
Absolutely. And listen, regardless of your opinions on Eddie Nketiah as a football player and his whole time at Arsenal, he did give us some good moments. I mean, I was at that Norwich game where he scored the 2 goals, a fantastic moment, and one of the moments that I remember during my time as an Arsenal fan. The Sheffield United hat-trick, the last-minute winner against Manchester United. So he's a player that's provided a lot of great moments for Arsenal, and obviously a Hale End Academy graduate as well. So it's nice to see him score. I just wish he could have done that a lot more in an Arsenal shirt, and it was a really well taken goal as well.
And he gave us a nervy couple of minutes there, because you're thinking, they get another one and it goes straight to penalties.
Absolutely. And it wasn't only that. I think there was an opportunity that he had later towards the end of the game where he was in and obviously nothing came from it. But the goal, I think we likened it to Cristiano Ronaldo's goal against Juventus in the Champions League when he leaped about 7 foot in the air. It was a fantastic header. So I got to give praise where praise needs to be given. Fantastic goal from Eddie Nketiah.
Well said. Just very quickly, got to wrap up. We're in 3 now to the semi-final. Obviously, it's going to be a Premier League last 4.
Yep.
Any preferences?
I don't think you're going to like this.
No, tell me, man.
Bring me Spurs.
You want Spurs?
I want Spurs. I want to be the reason directly that their trophy misery and their trophy, the lack of trophies that they've had over the last few years continues. Yeah. I would rather have Spurs in a semi-final because obviously on a final, anything can happen. You know, regardless of form, it's a final. We've seen it even last season, Manchester United beating Manchester City to the FA Cup. But the fact that obviously the semi-finals are played at the home stadiums, both legs, I fancy us both at the Emirates and at Tottenham stadiums to get a result in both of those games. And then whoever we may meet in the final, I feel confident as well.
Okay, Frank, thank you very much.
Thank you.